Welcome everyone to Nerd of the Rings, and welcome back to the show, Billy Boyd and Dominic Monaghan. How are you doing, guys?
Well,
good. I've just got a mouthful of nuts.
shall I fill?
Yeah, could you?
We're both well. We're both happy. We've just finished an episode of our podcast, The Friendship Onion, in which we tried out some different types of mead and just enjoyed time with each other. Shall I keep filling? Just enjoyed time with each other. We both flew back from Denver, Colorado yesterday where we were doing a convention. And then over the next few months, we go all around to a few different places, Boston and Toronto and Chicago, doing podcasts and meeting people who are fans of Lord of the Rings with Elijah Wood and Sean Astin, our Hobbity cousins. Tons of fun.
That's right. Yeah, we've seen on social media quite a bit of the four of you together. And since we're on the topic, I'm going to go ahead and pull this up, and you guys can kind of tell us about what's going on here.
Oh, it's Cotton Eye Joe.
Yeah.
It's funny because people were asking, they've asked a few times online, so how long did you have to rehearse to get it right? And I said, no, they taught us it on stage. I don't think people do. Billy and I slightly do a pirouette at a different time, but apart from that, Billy, we're bang on. We're like Janet Jackson dancers. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
You guys are on it.
We're on it. It's just our pirouettes are slightly different. That's all fine.
I go, then you go.
Yeah, I go after.
Yeah, that's all right.
And then we'll see it in a second. Sean Astin takes a tumble. I think from what we heard, he fell over his own water bottle on stage. I think. So look, I pretend to be tired here just because it's funny. We'll stop it right
Yeah, that was good. It was fun, that.
It was tons of fun.
I love dancing, Dom.
Yeah.
I dance quite a lot. I dance in the kitchen. I dance in the hall. I dance in the garden. I dance everywhere at all.
During the real darker days of COVID, when I wasn't seeing anyone and we were all locked down in our own respective houses, Billy sent me a dance that he did at like 5 a.m. to The Boy in the Bubble by Paul Simon, the opening track of Graceland.
Oh, absolute crack.
And it was a wonderful dance.
We might put that up online at the Friendship Onion sometimes.
I think you probably should. Yeah.
You
guys. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was just saying it's a good one.
So you guys recently have been recording some live versions of your podcast as well. How's that been treating you?
Yeah, so we thought while we were out doing this little kind of Hobbit tour, reunion tour, that we thought, well, why don't we do the Friendship Onion with a live audience to see how that affects things? And have you ever done yours with a live audience?
Yeah, well, not in person, but you know, like today we're live on the channel as we speak right now.
Oh, are we live?
Yeah. Did you not know? You didn't know we were live?
Didn't know either.
Live.
No. Jeez.
Yeah.
Watch your mouth, you filthy witch.
Hello, humans.
Hello, people of the world. It's me and him. So we went and did some live, and it's been brilliant. So we've done 3 now, and I think we're just getting the hang of it, because it's weird, because as you know, a podcast is something we are sort of almost internal. It's just this little bubble. And then I think when we first had an audience, because we're both actors, we started playing to the audience, you know. But whereas you don't actually really need to, because as a podcast, they're sort of there with us, sort of enjoying that sort of vibe at the same time. You know, it's not like doing a play or doing a music concert. So we've sort of settled into, I think, the right sort of energy now. Yeah. Which has been a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to doing more of them.
Me too. Yeah, they've come to watch the show, haven't they? They've come to watch the podcast that they know. And like Billy said, I think probably the first one, we were maybe a little bit more inclined to think, oh, there's a few hundred people in front of us we need to play out. And we do play out, obviously, a little bit in this section that we do call Billy and Dominic the World. Very often we've tried to include the audience, which has been great. But the energy in the room, you know, feeling what people respond to and what people seem to like and what people find funny has been really positive. And hopefully this will be something that we kind of sew into our podcasting in the studio and on the road.
Yeah, I think it's great fun. I want to do more of it for sure.
Yeah, I can speak from the YouTube end of things. If you guys do some live on, even from your studio live, I think people would really enjoy it. I did want to let you know, since we do have a live audience here, I ran a poll to ask who was the best dancer of the four of you in that clip. And Billy, you won with 43% of the vote.
Yeah, I would think Billy was. I would think. Where did the other three chaps come in?
So Dom, you got second with 24%.
Nice.
Sean actually came in third with 19, and Elijah bringing up the rear with 14.
Yeah. Well, he's the more stoic, isn't he? You know, he's the ring bearer.
I think that's fair.
I don't think he's a big dancer.
Sean had a huge amount of enthusiasm in his dance.
Samwise.
Yeah, but probably a little less kind of expertise and poise.
I felt very light.
Yeah, you look free. You look like
as soon as it started, I thought, yeah, I'm in this.
Yeah, I just thought I was standing next to a young Moriarty.
Well, that's what I felt. Like when I jumped, I felt, will I ever come down?
Yeah.
I did come down.
You did.
Yeah.
But later on, if that clip goes on a little bit, I kind of fake like I'm tired because I could see that Sean Astin was flagging, and then Sean Astin came over to me to kind of fake make me feel better, and Elijah stopped at that point. Billy continued and started to put a few little flourishes into his dancing. There was a bit of this.
I would have done it all night.
Yeah.
You know, when you get into dancing and you're just there, and what is that with humanity that we like to dance? It's weird, isn't it? I was dancing this morning in front of my wife, giving her a little show.
Of course.
And I said to her, you know, like dancing, you feel as though at one point you'll have hit all your moves. But I was just like, look, I've just done this move. I've never done that before. And look at this move. I've never done that. And she was enjoying it. I was enjoying it. And even my dog was enjoying it.
Do we think it's maybe all the cells in your body getting excited and your heart rate picks up and your blood starts flowing a little faster? And maybe since you've done it so many times now, and Billy's wife was a professional dancer for a long time, maybe it's the euphoria that you start to kind of get a little into.
There's definitely a euphoria. I enjoy it. I love to dance.
Yeah. Well, the other thing that we might be doing at a live convention sometime soon is Billy wants to introduce me to a Scottish dance and maybe get the audience involved in that too.
There is a dance in Scotland, kind of like the Cotton Eye Joe with America. There's a dance called the Slush that everybody does in Scotland, especially at weddings and get-togethers, and old people, young people, whoever, all getting it. It's a sort of line dance, and everybody in Scotland knows the Slush. So I think, if you don't mind, Dom, I would like to introduce that perhaps this week in Chicago.
I would love it. I think if you're going to introduce me to it, we pull at least one or two members out of the audience to do the Slush with me.
Well, if anyone's listening who's coming to Chicago, please learn the Slush, because you might end up on stage.
Yeah, we'll be asking people in the audience, does anyone want to join us in a Billy teaching us how to do the Slush? So if you want to make your presence felt, maybe a sign, maybe a T-shirt, maybe some sort of way of saying that you are the person we should pick.
I want to slosh. Might be the thing.
Well, I'm very much looking forward to the posts of footage that people take of you guys doing the slosh on stage, for sure.
And I think the slosh is less dangerous than Cotton Eye Joe.
Is it?
So I think Sean will be okay.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, his legs are moving around kind of crazy there a little bit.
Yeah. He can move. I tell you what, he does Ironman. He swims 40 miles and runs 100 and all that.
Yeah. He reminded me of Michael Flatley, the guy from Lord of the Dance.
When he fell.
We've also been doing these meals every time that we've gone to different cities.
Yes.
At these conventions, we work all day Saturday, all day Sunday, and very often the four of us fly off Sunday night because we might have responsibilities on Monday. So we've all agreed to have dinner on Friday night, which has been amazing. We've gone to some local places that no one knows. We've gone to some classic places in cities that are, popular hotspots, and everything in between. And the reason why I'm saying this was because when we were in Denver the other night, we took a picture on my camera, but then someone on another table snapped a picture of us, which I put up on Instagram today. And all four of us were in the exact same physical positions that we were in when we were in the final scene of Lord of the Rings in the Prancing Pony. So that's the one that I took. Well, someone took for me on my camera. And you can see our beautiful photo bomber behind us. I think
Yes.
he took
The
this
other picture.
This other
Yeah.
picture. Can you find the other picture?
I saw that.
Yeah.
It's on my
Really
Instagram
cool.
handle. If you find
Okay.
it.
Yeah.
You only
Yeah.
just put it up,
I
didn't
put
you?
it up today, just before I flew home from Denver.
Yeah, it's amazing, and it's exactly the photograph from the end of
It's-
Return of the King.
If you go to my Dom_Monaghan at Instagram.com, you'll see it's one of the last
Yeah,
posts that I put up. But I found that uncanny. You know, I was like, oh,
crazy.
didn't think about that, and kind of caught us in that moment.
Do you want a story about that picture?
There we
Oh,
go.
there you go.
Absolutely.
Look
Yeah.
at that.
That's interesting, right?
Isn't that crazy?
I love
It's like you planned it.
it. And we did not. It was impromptu.
It's
It
just
was-
And it wasn't
natural.
even us that took it. It wasn't even taken.
Yeah, I believe it was the photo bomber.
But you know, the bottom picture, you know, from the scene from Return of the King, Pete Jackson had organised that. He knew that he was going to do that scene, but he didn't know what we were going to be doing in it.
Mm.
And he said to me and Dom, he says, maybe it should be something funny. So maybe you guys could,
Yeah, dancing.
you know, something. Or he said, maybe one of you could take out, you know, a helmet or a shield that you brought from Rohan or something, and you're doing something with it.
Yeah.
And we thought for a while, what could it be? What could it be? And then it was brilliant that Pete just settled on this very, very simple idea. No talking,
Mhm.
no reminiscing, but just four guys just cheers and, you know, and just saying, yeah, we did that, you know. And I don't think we would have got to that, but Pete got it, and it was exactly the right feeling, the right beat for that thing.
Yeah.
There's a lot said in that.
Yeah.
You know, with no dialogue there.
Yeah. Like Billy said, we were exploring the idea of maybe you're catching Merry and Pippin in the middle of a story for the locals. And
yeah, that's right.
And then Pete, I remember saying, Pete said at that point, that's good, but that kind of separates you from Frodo and Sam. And I want something that is, you guys are together, and then there's everyone else in the pub. And we were like, oh, okay, well, let's think about that. And then obviously Pete came back. And like Billy had said, and like you had said, Matt, so much of the unspoken thing is, you know, these four guys have been through something that even if they started to begin to explain to the other hobbits in the pub, they'd laugh it off and say, "Oh, great! Well, have a beer." They would never begin to understand it, and it's that look between the four of us of like, we're back, but everything's different. Very beautiful.
Yeah. Nice.
Billy's taking his shoes off. That's a good sign.
That's comfy.
Now, I did get some I solicited some questions from my Patreon supporters along the way. So we've got some interesting, fun questions for you guys. The first one is from supporter Tom DeBombadil 19, and he asks, if Tom Bombadil were in Peter Jackson's films, what actor do you think would have portrayed him? Do you guys have anyone that comes to mind?
Yeah, I've answered this quite a few times. This is just me. It might not be Billy's thing, but I've been asked this question a few times, and I've got someone who I personally think would be great, which is Mark Rylance. Mark Rylance has got that nice kind of slight whimsy to his performance, almost as if he's kind of trying to remember something, or he's forgotten something, slightly absent-mindedness about his performance, and I think he'd be a pretty great Tom Bombadil. Can you top that, Bills?
I think I can.
Oh, go on.
Robin Williams, I would have had.
You realise?
But not at that time.
Okay. When he was alive.
Again, because he's sort of otherworldly, you know, kind of like what he did with Mork. He brings something that you're like, oh, wait a minute, is that a human? Who is he? But then there's a little sadness to it.
Yeah, he'd be great. And he was a big Lord of the Rings fan as well, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Billy and I played charades, or charades, as they say in the United States, with Robin Williams, Ed Norton. Was it? No.
Robin Williams, Ed Norton,
Rosanna.
and there was one other.
Yeah.
And it was.
Go on.
No, that's Ed Norton.
Well, a couple of girls from Saturday Night Live. I seem to remember Amy Poehler and someone else from Saturday Night Live was there. But I want to say Rosario Dawson was there, but that might not be right. But we were all, or at least I was certainly completely wowed by Robin Williams and struggled to notice anyone else. But yeah, playing charades with Robin Williams, pretty fantastic.
And we when we were going down to the theatre, he was in the elevator with me, and as soon as he heard my accent, he was Scottish from then on.
Right.
He just had a Scottish accent. It's very funny.
Yeah.
Very funny, man.
Very funny.
Absolutely. Yeah, that was, I like both of those choices.
Good.
Those
Great.
are great choices. So Voice of the Rings says that Billy inspired him to do music in his life. And he's a music major. And one of the reasons is because of Billy. What inspired Billy to get into music? Was it for fun, or did someone inspire you?
I think when I first got into music, it was to play in a band. That was the whole. I wasn't really into music per se as much as I wanted to hang out with my friends, and that was something that we were sort of doing. Where it was the same friends that we all hung out, played football, soccer, but then we sort of all decided on an instrument. I'll get the drums, I'll get the bass, I'll sing, and we just got a band together. And then from then on, my music sort of level has always been based on songwriting, and I never really got technically brilliant at anything, because it was always about how do I write a better song and what do I do to make a song more interesting. And I wish now, and I have went back to kind of, it's not like I feel like I'm too old for this now. I have went back to get technically better at music, because I think understanding it in a deeper level also helps in lots of different ways. And for a lot of years, I just learned enough to be able to write a song and play it live. But now I'm enjoying going back and going, oh, that's what the scales are for. Oh, that's why that fits with that, So, there wasn't a single person really. I mean, if I had to pick someone, I would say Prince, because he was the biggest person and artist in my life at that sort of age, 14, 15, 16. But it's not like I went on to write sort of Prince music. If I had to say whose music did I write like, there was a band called The, and he inspired me more because he was like really sort of poetic and weird lyrics. It wasn't just like I love you and you're sweet, and he tried to do something with his lyrics, and I always like to do that now.
Great kind of mood music.
They're very strange and wonderful.
Do you know them, Matt?
I don't know.
They're really interesting. They're amazing at creating like a vibe. The sound is very kind of like loungy vibe.
Yeah.
Elbow remind me of that.
Yeah, I'll give you that. Yeah. And what we're talking about earlier on today, before we came on to see you, Matt, we're talking about, sometimes you're tired and you don't want to do something. I'm terrible at this, and I don't do it. And then weeks later, I think, I wish I'd done that. Just got off my butt. We're playing, and I didn't go.
What, here?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a shame.
I was like, why didn't I just go? I would rather just sit on the sofa and scroll through TikTok.
Well, we'll find out the next time they're touring, because there's a lot of bands that I want to see on tour, and we'll just put that on that list. I've recently been watching, Paul McCartney doing a few epic shows. He recently headlined Glastonbury, and I just had this very panicky moment where I thought, am I honestly going to not ever see Paul McCartney live? Probably the living musical icon hero that survives at this point. Yeah. And I'm just going to regret it when he's gone. So the next time Paul McCartney is doing anything in the United States, hopefully in Los Angeles, I'm there.
Have you never seen him?
Never seen him.
It's amazing.
Yeah. He's one of the Beatles, for God's sake. What am I doing?
Yeah.
Anyway. Someone said hello from Antarctica earlier on, Matt.
Yes,
I just want to say hello back, because that's incredible that they're coming all the way from Antarctica. Hey, how's it going? Hope you're keeping nice and toasty warm.
Yeah, we've got all kinds of people from all over the world. They're sharing what ridiculously early time in the morning it is across the ocean there. So a question for I get a question about Billy, but I want to open it up for both of you. So we know obviously that Dom, you've been in both the Star Wars and the Marvel franchises, played characters in those franchises of films. If Dom were to be in a Star Wars movie and or a Marvel movie, what kind of character would he be?
Absolutely anything. They could offer me, honestly, the guy who sweeps up behind Dom. I'll do that. You know, I don't even need a special ability. All I need is a bus pass, maybe, or whatever it is.
You know, when the Phantom Menace was hinted at years ago now that, you know, George Lucas was getting back together and making another Star Wars film, I called, because this is pre-internet, that's how long ago it was, or at least this is at a point where I was calling my agent and not emailing my agent. I called my agent and said, just get me on that set. I don't care. I'll be a stormtrooper. I'll be a guy, third row at the back. And my agent said, okay, I'll see what I can do. Obviously that didn't transpire, but yeah.
But that would have been around the same time that then Lord of the Rings happened, right?
Close.
They were in production pretty close to each other.
We went on the set, didn't we?
We did. We went to Sydney and hung out with Hayden and Natalie and Ahmed.
Yeah. And we went on set a couple of days and we watched it get made. It was cool. No, I don't know who I would be. I would... I don't know. Like Star Wars? I mean, I suppose one of the fighter pilots, I suppose. I suppose that's, you know, that's normally the Brits, isn't it?
Yeah.
Or one of the bad guys.
Red 2 or Red 7 or maybe Gold Leader.
Gold, could it be Gold Leader?
Yeah.
Or maybe one of the bad guys. Maybe one of the bad guys with a bad helmet. A really too big helmet.
Yeah. I think there's been a lot of people, famous people that have played Stormtroopers, right? Like Daniel Craig played a Stormtrooper. And did one of...
Dustin Hoffman.
Is that right?
He wasn't a stormtrooper. He was dressed in black, wasn't he?
Oh, okay.
Came in with Darth Vader in a scene.
Oh, okay.
Really? I didn't know that.
I didn't know that either. And also, I think either Prince William or Prince Harry played a stormtrooper.
Really?
I think so.
There's quite a few cameos. Yeah.
I don't get why people are so into stormtroopers. You know, when you go to convention, there's a lot of stormtroopers.
Yeah.
Why do they want to be a stormtrooper?
Well, is the idea behind the stormtrooper that you're everyman? You're a private in the army. You're an anonymous kind of person. So I think maybe at these conventions, and maybe for very, very famous people playing stormtroopers, they're just like, well, it won't matter. Put a helmet on me. No one will know that I'm Daniel Craig. You know, I think maybe that's it. But it's interesting because Daniel Craig looks pretty big. He's like the stockiest stormtrooper you've ever. It's like Tom Hardy in a stormtrooper outfit.
Right.
Like, who's that?
See, I would be the short stormtrooper, you know, like how Leia makes fun of Luke. That'd be me. I'm the short guy. So you guys, I wanted to make sure that we touched on, I was listening to Audible the other day and a commercial popped up for a certain Audible original. And lo and behold, you're both in it.
Yeah.
It's called Moriarty, the Devil's Game. What can you tell us about that?
Well, Dominic over here on my right is Moriarty. And the idea is it's looking at the story of Sherlock Holmes, but from the side of Moriarty. So what if he wasn't the really bad guy that everybody makes him out to be? You know, let's have a look at Moriarty and how's he feeling about things. And maybe Sherlock Holmes isn't as good a guy as everybody makes him out to be. So it sort of takes that black and white, which we're kind of dressed like today, black and white, but kind of grays the story and like, oh, well, let's have a look at one of these stories, The Devil's Game, and look at it from Moriarty's point of view. And I play a sort of criminal who hooks up with Moriarty, and you can see why Moriarty's got a criminal. He could have a great criminal mind, but he's not. And it's a really, really interesting story. Really well written. It's great.
Yeah, like Billy said, it's exploring this idea that I think every character thinks they're the hero of their own story, and they have, the female lead and the male supporting cast and the female supporting cast, and then the enemy, the bad guy, and Moriarty, if he were to be a real character, probably assumes that Sherlock Holmes is the bad guy, is the enemy in his story, and it just kind of flips that on its head. And was just another great opportunity for Billy and I to work together very often on these type of things. Unfortunately, because we're busy and we're in different countries or different cities, what will happen is you'll record your audio, and then a few weeks later, someone else will come in and do their audio.
Right.
And once Billy and I were down the road with this thing, we made it clear that, like, can we please record all of our stuff together, because I do the lion's share of my work with Billy, and just another great opportunity to be working together.
And great to be in the same room and be able to jump off each other, rather than as Dom says, oh, you record your lines, Billy's going to do his, and they put them together. It's never as good.
No, it's good. And hopefully we do it again. It comes out in the next couple of weeks or so, and I think Billy and I are going to go down to Comic-Con in San Diego and do a little promotion for it, and fingers crossed it's popular and we get a chance to solve more mysteries.
That's fantastic. So I was going to ask you guys actually about San Diego Comic-Con. I'm going to be covering as many things Lord of the Rings as I can find while I'm attending my first ever Comic-Con.
First ever? Oh,
yeah.
Smokes.
So yeah, I will try to
big.
seek you guys out, whatever you guys are doing. Yeah, I've heard stories and started getting emails regarding it, and it's a little daunting, but I'm excited for it.
It's
so
big.
Oh, you'll have a great time, Matt. It'll be great.
Billy and I have been lucky enough to be invited to a ton of conventions around the world, but I personally have never been to anything bigger than San Diego Comic-Con. It is ginormous. Like, it takes you a couple of days just to walk around and get your bearings. So hopefully you're not too overwhelmed and you can get some work done. But yeah, there'll be quite a lot of Lord of the Rings stuff down there, right? Because obviously the Amazon show, I'm sure, will have a presence down there, and Weta usually have a couple of booths over there, right? And there'll be some video game stuff, and maybe Billy and I will put on a pair of Stormtrooper helmets and walk the shop floor.
There you go.
That's when the Stormtrooper helmets come in handy, is
I
walking
bet.
the shop floor at conventions.
Yeah.
So we've got another audience question here from Sean. Oh, sorry, I skipped one. Let me pull, there we go. Okay.
There we go.
Sorry, from Thomas. I was going out of order there. Would there be Thomas has given you guys an idea to do a live friendship onion at the Green Dragon in New Zealand. That sounds pretty epic.
I can't believe we haven't thought of that.
Yeah, sounds amazing. We'd love to do that. I mean, these things happen when you kind of work out a way to get invited to those places, and it makes sense for, all parties concerned, So, I mean, Billy and I, you wouldn't need to bend our rubber arms to go back to New Zealand too much. And we have actually done stuff in the Green Dragon, right?
Yeah.
I went and I did a Nate show for a few years, and Billy came with me to the New Zealand episode. We found ourselves in Hobbiton, and for probably, I don't know, a good 45 minutes or so while my crew was kind of finishing up and we were about to have lunch, Billy and I were behind the bar serving a bunch of very shocked tourists who were like, "What are you doing here?" And Billy and I were like, "Oh, we have rooms just above the bar and we stay here, and we pull pints every so often."
Pints for people. There you go.
It was brilliant. So that would be amazing. If there's anyone out there
That's a great idea.
if there's anyone out there in New Zealand that wants to try and find a way to make that happen for us, we'd love to do it. We're open to any ideas.
Yeah, that would be fantastic. Josh says, no question or comment, just wanted to say that he loves you all and thanks for all that you guys do.
I think that was a
Big
comment
fan of the podcast.
Yeah,
there.
it was a comment. Yeah, thanks, Josh.
Thanks, Josh.
Yeah, it was kind of a comment, I guess, when you look at it. But and then Jennifer asked, what was it like smoking Old Toby? So I'm guessing this is, the scene at Isengard, perhaps. I don't know if she was concerned about the contents of the pipes or, she's just throwing the question out there.
No, they treated us very well on the set. And I seem to recall that on the days where they wanted the pipes lit and for us to be smoking, they would come over to us with kind of fresh, loose tobacco, maybe a few different options. I think there was one version that was no tobacco at all. It was just a kind of like a herby thing that creates a smoke and is okay to inhale. And then something similar to a kind of drum type vibe, right? You know, that tobacco drum, something like that.
I think.
Or American Spirit Natural or something like that.
Yeah, because I don't smoke tobacco, but they gave us this herbal thing that was actually, I really liked smoking it. I remember even between takes, you know, and smoking a pipe, there's something quite nice about it once you get it going.
Yeah.
Talking about Star Wars, that was like our sort of lightsaber moment when some great artists from Weta arrived with boxes with pipes and just said, "Do you want to choose your pipe?" It was like choosing your lightsaber, you know.
For a hobbit, I guess that is about as important as getting your lightsaber.
Kind of heavy, that one, no good. And then we got these pipes, and definitely in the Isengard scenes, both of us were sitting between takes, we just puffing away on these.
Yeah,
but it wasn't old Toby, I'm afraid.
No.
Although that is the best in the South Valley.
Yeah, right. I think also Ian McKellen was keen on making sure that Gandalf smoked, because there's many comments throughout the book about, you know, the Hobbit's pipe weed has kind of dulled your mind and all this kind of stuff. But Gandalf rates it, and I think Ian was pretty keen on making sure that certainly Gandalf the Grey smoked as much as he could. You know, Tolkien is relatively on the fence about the medicinal qualities of the pipe weed. I think in the book he kind of talks about it helping with things like concentration and calmness, but doesn't get into any of the bigger, you know, if you smoke too much it can make you go loopy or anything. But you know, in the film, when Gandalf and Bilbo are sat having a chat, and then Gandalf blows a smoke, and it becomes a little ship. That you know, that to me is the closest nod, certainly from Peter Jackson's Lord of the Rings, that there might be something in this smoke that's a little bit more magical than we think. You know?
Yeah, absolutely. So, did you guys get to keep your pipes that you got from the?
Don't know how. But
that's terrible, actually. We should have that. If anyone from Weta is watching and our pipes are sitting in some back room somewhere, could you post them on, please?
But over the years, and in fact recently at the Orlando convention, some guy stood in line to meet me, and when he got to the front of the line, he said, "I don't want you to sign anything. I don't want a photo. I've made 4 pipes, and I just want you to give them out to the 3 other guys." Remember? And they weren't as long hobbity pipes, but they were still beautifully wooden smokable pipes. And like Billy said, neither one of us smoke, but just to have it on a mantelpiece. And I said, "Oh, that's great. I absolutely will." So I took mine, and then Elijah and Billy and Sean took theirs. So we have been gifted a lot of pipes over the years.
Yeah.
Very cool. So we got a question here from Amanda. She's asking about the possibility of you guys reprising your roles for an audiobook. And I'll kind of add on to this, because we recently had news. I don't know if you guys have followed the anime Lord of the Rings film that's coming out called War of the Rohirrim.
Oh, yeah.
But there was news that Miranda Otto is coming back as Éowyn to serve as the tale's narrator. So, you know, if who knows where this animated film stuff will go. You know, maybe we get a Scouring of the Shire or some kind of hobbity tale. Is that something that you guys would find interesting down the road?
Yeah, I mean, we definitely find it interesting. You know, we're actors for hire. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So someone has to come over and make it worth our while. Of course, we love being involved in Lord of the Rings, and that was a great job for us. But getting all the cast again together to do an audiobook, I'm going to say would be relatively expensive.
That would be pretty.
Billy doesn't get out of bed for less than $1 million. I know that for a fact.
And what, to do the Lord of the Rings, or to do a new story with those characters? Maybe. I mean, you know, I think it'd be fun to revisit those hobbits, you know. And maybe if it was something, they're a bit older now and they're in the Shire. if someone wrote something interesting, we'd always look at it.
Yeah, we're all ears.
All right. We'll go ahead and we'll keep going with, we've got some good viewer questions here. John Pope asks, what was the most funny thing to happen while offset in New Zealand?
Well done for knowing that Happy was supposed to be happening there.
Yeah.
Matt, I would never have got that. Well done. You're like a spell check genius.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of funny stuff that goes on. Everyone was always in good moods, wasn't it? It was nice hanging out with people. We had a lot of, I seem to remember quite a few football games because we were into football and Vigo's into football, and we would bring footballs in and around unit base and be playing in Hobbit feet. And then there was a few times where, you know, you would hit the ball and, you know, half your Hobbit foot would fly off and you'd have to be like, that's me, I'm going to have to go to Weta and get in trouble. So there's always something going on. But in terms of funny stuff, I mean, I don't know. I feel like most of those funny stories are out there, aren't they?
I remember once, I don't know if we've talked about this, probably have. Just when you were talking about playing football, we were playing football once and we had like, you know, sort of indoor football, just like sneakers like Dom's wearing right now. And but Elijah was there, didn't know we were going to play football, but he had like a pair of leather brogues. Do you remember that? And they were like, you know, they had a huge leather sole on them. And it was just, everyone was just trying not to get the legs broken by Elijah Wood because he was, you know, going in 100% with these.
Yeah, there was no sense of control.
You're just jumping over these feet like, oh no!
Yeah, just taking you out.
Yeah, that was pretty funny.
Not necessarily a natural football player, but fun to watch.
I will say, Dom, so that while we were waiting to go live, we had some people trash talking Manchester United in the chat.
We hang it up.
I mean, it's a good time. It's a good time to trash talk Manchester United. We're in disarray. You know, we've been in a mess for a while. It's tough. It's the toughest time in my lifetime to be a Manchester United fan, and you know, pretty depressing. I've spent almost every single weekend away from my house since the season ended because a weekend without football in my house drags really long. So to be away from football, even when Manchester United are not playing their best football, is still challenging for me. But, you know, we're the only football team in professional soccer where our owners bought us and then invested debt into our team. So, you know, normally what happens with a takeover is an owner comes in, buys the team for, let's say, £100 million and then invests £300 million. But what happened with us was they bought us for £700 million and then invested another $800 million of their own debt into the team. And all they're doing now is just siphoning their debt out of the team. And it's become a very sad place. It's permeated throughout the culture.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
That's the problem with Manchester United, is our owners. It's not the players, it's not the fans, it's not the badge, it's not the team. It's this culture that has become infected with debt. And, you know, the other team in Manchester, the big team in Manchester is Manchester City. When they were bought about 5 or 6 years after Manchester United, their owner invested £2 billion into their team. And you just see the disparity between those teams now. So, yeah, go ahead, talk shit. Talk shit about Manchester United. I'm fine with it. We'll be back. We're like Coca-Cola. We're like Nestle. We're not going anywhere. Football goes in cycles. And when we come back, you better watch out because we're going to roar like a lion, but it's not going to happen for a while.
See, this is very therapeutic for me, Dom, because I am a big Chicago Cubs fan, and they are terrible this season. Just horrible. Now that makes me wonder: are there any American sports that you guys get into, or does our version of football and baseball and stuff like that just not do it for you?
I'll watch the Super Bowl. I'll always watch the Super Bowl, or maybe even a couple of games before the Super Bowl to see who gets there, because it's interesting to me. I'm a big fan of basketball. You know, when I first got to LA, it was the kind of Shaq, Kobe, Devin George, Robert Horry era, which was, you know, obviously LA Lakers at their finest, and loved that. I met Kobe a couple of times. I met Shaq a couple of times. Really fun. was a huge fan of Kevin Garnett, Paul Pierce. You know, I like Raja Rondo, is that his name? And Steph Curry. So yeah, I like basketball. Billy and I have been to a few basketball games and met teams and all that kind of stuff.
It's a bit too sizes for me. I don't like a sport where you have to be over 7 foot to be able to play it. I've always said, and no one's told me why not. Why don't they have another league of basketball where
you have to be under a certain height?
You have to be under 6 foot, and they lower the basket 1 foot. It's going to be faster. It's going to be more exciting, and I think it would be a better game.
Maybe fairer.
And it's more fair for people like me.
Okay.
Under 6 foot.
I think you're onto something, Billy.
Right?
Yeah.
And we call it low basketball.
Yeah, low basketball. Short ass basketball.
No, I don't know about that. It's negative.
Hobbit basketball.
Hobbit basketball. Could be on something there. But why don't they do that? And then everybody can play.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I don't think there's any sport that they televise better than American football. It looks amazing. When you actually go to the game, it's not as good as watching it on TV, I think.
Yeah.
Baseball's really fun and really American, and I love that. I love going, but it just lasts too long sometimes.
It's too slow.
Yeah.
But there's been great movies about baseball, so I like baseball because of that. I like the Americana of it. I like that they still dress the way they did. They didn't evolve that. They just said, yep, this is perfect. Let's do that. And I think it's a really fun game to play as well.
Traditional. It's the most traditional American sport. Baseball. The most, like Billy said, unchanged. Now,
so basketball, bring it down.
Bring it down.
Baseball, brilliant. Football, watch it on TV. We've sorted it.
I don't know if this is necessarily an American pastime or sport, but I play it a lot in American bars, and it is my favorite bar game. It's not sport, but is shuffleboard American?
Oh, yeah.
Is that American? Do we know the origins of that?
I don't, but I know it is in a lot of American bars, and I've played it.
I'm going to assume it's American. And that
actually started in Napoleonic sailing ships.
It's quite learned.
And the shuffle used to happen. You wouldn't throw it. You would wait for a wave to pitch, and then that would take the shuffle to where it would go.
Oh, brilliant.
And then back the other way, back that way. And it was called shuffle shipboard. And they took the ship out, and now it's just shuffleboard.
Makes perfect sense. I mean, it's like, Billy's full of knowledge, full of something.
He could have just made that entire thing up, and I'd have no idea, but it sounded brilliant.
You'll never know. I guess shuffleboard is like curling without the ice and just miniaturized.
Exactly what it's like.
But yeah, I love shuffleboard. Love shuffleboard. If I walk into a bar and there's a shuffleboard table and it's free, I'm in trouble.
So if there was a shuffleboard table, a billiards table, a dartboard, you would go to the shuffleboard.
Yeah, I mean, I like pool. Billy and I spent a lot of our time in New Zealand playing pool together. I love pool. I love it.
It's good. It's good game.
Shuffleboard has a little sense of randomness to the skill where you can just kind of turn your brain off, have a drink, just play. Whereas with pool, we both know if you have that extra beer too many and you're a little tipsy, then your pool game's going to fall off. With shuffleboard, I think you're good most of the time.
What about darts?
Darts, too skillful for me.
I'm quite good at darts.
You scored an 8 the last time we played.
I was going for 8.
Okay, great. Well done. Bullseye in that case.
All right, another question. This one from the Mighty Mim. Aside from the films, one of my fondest memories is playing the Return of the King video game, especially as Merry or Pippin. Did you guys have fun doing the video game? Glad to be here. So yeah, there was a lot of the cast for that. Were you guys among the cast that did voices for the video game?
Yeah, I think in the Return of the King game, obviously Vigo and Orlando and Ian and John Rhys Davis were kind of major characters, and then certainly Billy and I were kind of bonus characters that you could unlock once you played it. Yeah. To be completely transparent, no, I did not have fun making that game. It was a nightmare. Well, it was the first time I'd ever been lucky enough to be involved in a computer game, as we call it in England. And I thought, this is great. This is going to be so much fun. And it was a couple of days at least, if not 3 days, of just a huge script with them saying, okay, scream help. Okay, scream help slowly. Okay, scream help like you're running. Okay, scream help like you're walking down the stairs. Okay, scream help like you're walking up the stairs. Okay, say help. Say help twice. Say no. Say no slowly. Say no like you're scared. Say no like you disagree. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
That's what it was. It was the repetition.
And then screaming.
Screaming. And they said, do you want to do the screams at the start of the day or wait? And I remember us being like, well, how many screams are there? And they were like, there's about 35 different types of screams. I was like, yeah, I'll do them at the end of the day. I had a headache. It was hot. It was awful. It was not a good experience. But what was good about it was we got invited to EA. Do you remember that?
Yeah, that was a lot.
San Francisco. They flew us up to the massive EA offices and we were playing games all day. And they had a full-size basketball court in the offices and they gave us a ton of games.
That's right. It was great.
But it was a nightmare, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. And strangely enough, the song that I sang at the end of Return of the King, when we recorded that in the studio, there was, wind machines and all that on. So we had to re-sing it, in ADR, dub it. And I was supposed to do it the day after they finished the game. And there was no way. I didn't have any voice. I couldn't talk, never mind sing. And we were going back to Britain in like 2 days after that. So they're like, don't worry about it. We'll pick it up another time. We'll record it somewhere else. And about a month later, they said, oh, can we record that song? We need to get it now. Would you be able to get down to Abbey Road? And we'll record it down in Abbey Road while they're doing the orchestra. So we went into Abbey Road and I sang that song and got to see the piano that the Beatles used.
Yeah.
It's all just in cupboards.
Yeah.
Just like, oh yeah, there's Lady Madonna. It was played on that there. Like, well, it's just in a cupboard. It should be in a museum or something.
Right.
Yeah, but that was fantastic getting to go to Abbey Road. So it all worked out in the end.
Very good. Yeah, I imagine, when you guys were recording Moriarty, that was quite a different experience in a sound booth as opposed to the video game.
Yeah.
But that's a whole, I meant to say something when we were talking about recording the audiobook or the Audible Moriarty thing is that kind of jarring, the first time you do that because of the difference between that and acting on a set with actors. I know you said you guys were there together. But voice acting is kind of a whole different skill set, a lot of people say.
Yeah, I try and approach things the exact same way each time, just try and concentrate on the words that you're being told and do it to the best of your ability. And hopefully if you're in a scene with another actor, make sure that you're both, kind of on the same page, as it were. Didn't feel that different, did it? I mean, it's like doing a radio play, the two of us together.
Yeah, exactly. The only thing is you have to keep in your head that, everything that they get is from your voice. So, there's no point in making faces, because, without some sort of vocalization, even if it's but all, as Dom says, it all comes from the same truthful place. As long as you're truthfully telling the story, but you just have to remember, oh, wait a minute, this is only audible.
I did a radio play back in the day, like in between doing this BBC One show that I did. I must have been 19, 20 at the most. It was called Stockport, so good they named it twice, which is Stockport's like the city in Manchester that I come from. And the only thing that I remember about it, which still makes me laugh to this day, is the guy who played my dad in it had just bought a new car and it was a Ford Focus, but he pronounced it Focus. So he was like, "It's not getting the back of my Focus," which I always thought was just, and it went through the whole show, But yeah, that was the first time I ever did a radio play. And I remember at the time being intimidated, thinking, oh, radio play must all be so different. It's not. It's a whole bunch of cast members sat around just recording their voices. It's fun.
And you don't have to learn the words. Exactly. And you don't have to wear a costume. Yeah. And you don't have to wear makeup.
Yeah. It's all fun.
It's got some perks there.
Yeah.
Now, Dom, you are big into, is it League of Legends, right?
We both play League of Legends.
Both are now.
But
okay.
I kind of introduced Billy to it. So I think probably for the first few weeks or so, you could argue that I was into it and Billy was trying to get into it, but we're both fully into it now.
Nice. Now, do you guys? We had a few people asking in the chat if either of you guys have ever played Lord of the Rings online. I know it's totally different type of game, but
Strange that I haven't.
I haven't either.
I would like to try it though.
Yeah.
Do you get to build a character at the start?
yeah, you get to pick. You can be hobbit, elf, man, dwarf. I think there's even a couple other. A Beorning is one, like the like Beorn. You can transform into a bear and stuff, which sounds like a good time.
Nice. Good, yeah. Love fantasy.
Must try it. Yeah.
All right, let's see here. Sorry, my scrolling YouTube kind of scrolled like crazy on me. All right.
Don't you worry.
All right. Sorry.
We'll talk amongst ourselves. Didn't
Yeah,
we
there you
enjoy that mead, Billy? Wasn't that mead lovely?
Wasn't that mead lovely? And you liked the apple one the most?
Mm.
I probably did, but I liked the blackberry as well.
Mm.
So we had a question here. This is one that I was really excited to see someone bring up the game of Cornhole. Have you guys ever played Cornhole? Do you know of this game?
That's the one where it's a hole that's far away and you throw like a beanbag in, isn't it?
Beanbags, yes. Yeah.
It's always sounded like a dirty game to me.
Cornhole?
Yeah, and that's why I have played it, but I've always been nervous. As someone in mixed company says, "Do you play Cornhole?" I always think, are they propositioning me?
Oh no, it's not.
It's just a game.
Yeah, it's just a game.
Yeah.
I've played it, but it's not my favorite. I'd rather have a game of darts because
That's also a good one. Yeah.
I mean, the guys who play it, who are really good at it, like they're really good at it, right?
Yeah.
They'll leave the bag hanging.
Yeah, they'll block the hole so the other person can't get in.
Can't get their bag in. Bag in.
I like the horseshoe one, which is similar, right? There's like a stake in the ground and you throw horseshoes at it. I played that as well.
I like the French one where you've got the
boule.
Boule. I like boule.
Yeah, I like boule.
Where you play on dirt and it's like bowls, but you don't roll it, you throw it. Boule. That's a fun game.
Yeah, I like that too. I'm very good at cricket. I'm a very good bowler.
Are you really?
I'm a great bowler.
Are you a fast bowler?
No, I would say I'm just kind of a medium level. I don't define my bowling on being like super swift, but it comes at you pretty quick.
Yeah.
But not like overly quick. Yeah. But the accuracy is profound.
Is it really?
No, I'm genuinely a really good bowler. Not a great batsman, but that's why I thought I'd be really good at throwing the first pitch out of a baseball game, because I was like, well, I can hit wickets.
I can really do that.
Yeah.
Can you do that thing?
Spin? No, I won't really spin. It's usually straight at you. I have spun.
What's the one that's got a funny name?
A googly.
Yeah. Can you do a googly?
Yeah. Do you know about this, Matt? This is
a
really
googly.
Oh yeah. This is really interesting. It's a little bit like baseball, I'm sure, with the whole like fade. The way that so a googly is a bowl where it looks like the ball is going to fade away in a certain direction, but it actually fades in the opposite direction. It's a disguised bowl. And if you can get someone out with a googly, it's almost as if you've played a practical joke on them, because you've conned them, which it happens all the time in baseball, right?
Yeah,
it looks like it's going to come, kind of fading away to the left, and then suddenly it switches to the right on you. Do they call that a switch up or something like that? Is that?
Kind of depend. Yeah, there's a lot of breaking pitches in baseball, but there's cutters or sliders. Usually it's it looks like it's coming in straight. A lot of times it's they're thinking it's a fastball and then it breaks one direction or the other.
Well, you can call that a googly from now on. If you
googly.
want.
I love the name for one thing.
Well, there was an absolutely incredible bowler who unfortunately died about 2 or 3 years ago. He's an Australian bowler called Shane Warne. And if you want to see one of the greatest bowls of all time, just put in Shane Warne. His last name is Warne, and put in Shane Warne bowl of the century. And he does this bowl where it hits the ground and you think, okay, well, if it's hit the ground there, then it's going to end up there. And it just flies in the opposite direction. And everyone in the stadium was just like, that's like a magic trick. What physics? Yeah. Shane Warne, incredible. Best bowler of all time. Anyway,
okay. Well, I will definitely have
check
to look
him
that
out.
up.
He's interesting.
I've never. That was when I was in London recently. I had to ask some of the locals there to try to explain to me cricket because it's I have baseball ingrained in my mind, and I think I just need to push that aside. In order to fully understand cricket.
I think it's a strange societal hang up in the United States that you guys don't understand cricket, because I think you absolutely do. If you understand baseball, you're trying to get the other guy out by throwing the ball at him, which is exactly the same in cricket. We have a set of sticks behind us, so if the ball comes past and hits the sticks, they're out. And if the batsman or the batter hits it, you guys run home. We just run towards our bails and run back. It's pretty much baseball, but just a little different, but not that different. If you understand baseball, you should understand cricket. Okay. And I've had so many conversations with people from the United States that say, "Tell me about this mysterious game, cricket." And I'm like, no, it's just baseball with slightly different rules.
I did. So my mistake was I watched it first and then asked for an explanation. I probably should have asked for the explanation first, but it was on TV in the hotel room. And so I was like, oh, this is cricket. I understand baseball. I should get this. And then, the ball was like going backwards and I wasn't sure what was going on. It was,
there's some the wonderful, like, good humored idiosyncrasies about cricket. And my all time favorite one is, if anyone of either the attacking team or the defending team gives an item of clothing to the umpire, he has to put it on. You can't put it on the floor because it could potentially create a problem with the ball. So you'll sometimes see an umpire waiting to, watch if the batsman in front of them is going to be out or not, wearing 7 or 8 jumpers. Yeah, it's just bizarre and a brilliant rule.
Isn't there another rule when you get to 111? Is that true?
What was the rule for that?
Doesn't the umpire have to stand on one leg?
Oh, for that ball. Yeah.
When it's 111 until they get to 112, the umpire had to stand on one leg.
Yeah, that's a beautiful.
That's a real thing.
Yeah, it's a real thing.
That's a real
beautiful
thing.
Little idiosyncrasies. This is a 4.
I thought for sure you were making that up, Billy.
No,
I thought you were just.
Sometimes I don't even know when I'm making something up, but I'm pretty sure that one's true.
I think that's true too. Yeah, that's true too.
All right. Got a question here from Albert. What has been the most fulfilling experience for each of you as human beings and as actors? Cheers from the Lord of the Rings podcast.
My God, that's a heck of a question.
That's a big one, isn't it?
We're getting deep here.
Yeah, it's big. How long have we got?
As a person, I would say making a person is a big deal. So having a baby, if that felt like a big achievement, and sort of not unlike a googly send your life another way, sort of, very quickly you're like, oh wow, life is something else now, and but in a great way. So that was lovely, and probably my biggest thing as a human being. As an actor, they happen all the time. You just get a job where you'll play a character that you think, oh, this is really difficult, I don't know how to play this, and you'll burst the bubble of that character and you feel great. Or, just you get, great writing is the major thing. If you get to see great writing as an actor, you're always going to feel fulfilled and feel good about it, So they happen quite a lot, actually.
Yeah, I agree with Billy on that answer. I think we're lucky enough that, we love our jobs and we put a lot into it. And if you're coming at all of those jobs with the right intention, which is, how much juice can I squeeze out of this opportunity? And especially, like Billy said, if it's great writing, then, you can really find yourself moved by those moments and maybe learn a little bit about yourself at the same time. Recently I played a Nazi in this Call of Duty game. And I was spending quite a bit of time with Billy at the time, because I think we were just coming out of COVID.
Yeah. And
Billy's family was kind of my kind of social bubble, because I hadn't seen anyone for like 9 months. So at that point I said to Billy, are you guys taking visitors? Because, I've not seen the person that I've known for almost a year. But he's like, yeah, come down, we'll have dinner. So at that point I was coming down to see them. And I remember saying to Billy, I'm a little nervous about this Call of Duty game. It's a lot of lines, and it's like doing a play, and the scenes go on for a long time, 3 minutes, 4 minutes, and a lot of dialogue. and I wasn't sure how it was going to go. And just like Billy said, there came probably like day 2 or day 3 where I was like, I got it. It's this way. It's this way that he moves his mouth. It's this way that he holds his hand. It's this way that he, makes these little noises, and something just locks in, and that's extremely fulfilling as an actor. Yeah.
Great. So you mentioned Dom last time you were on. Actually, we were talking about you having Billy's family is kind of your somewhat post-COVID, I guess. We're still in it at times, but yeah. So now I think that was probably close to a year ago that you guys were on, and but since then, obviously, conventions have started happening again. So what's it been like for you guys after kind of being forced to take a break from going to conventions? What's it been like getting back into, especially now that, you guys are on kind of a tour with Sean and Elijah? What's that been like getting to go back to cons again?
Yeah, it's been great. It's been great. And I think a lot of people that we've been meeting at these conventions have expressed that they've needed it. They've missed it. They've not had an opportunity to do these type of things. So they've needed it. And I think we probably have enjoyed that element too. I'm without doing it on purpose or needing to do it, I'm quite a malleable person. I can probably figure out who I need to be in most kind of walks of life. I can figure out, like, okay, I'm going to slightly adapt myself to be this person here and then change for this. So obviously during COVID, 9-10 months in my house on my own, that's just an adaptation. And then suddenly you find yourself in a convention hall with 60,000 people, and you just need to just slightly shift who you are. But as actors, we do that all the time. So the shift was not too painful for me. It's been great.
Yeah, it's been really good fun. And these ones that the 4 hobbits have been doing together, I mean, that's never happened in 20 years since the first movie came out. We've never done them together, so we're making a real point of it. We go to dinner every time we meet up to make sure that we all get a really good catch up about what's going on in our lives, and then meeting everyone, and everyone now being able to bring their VHS versions or whatever they're bringing, and they can get all hobbits to sign it or whatever, or just showing us something that they've made. It's been brilliant, and just the tonic after all that time alone, during the COVID thing.
Well, I know it's been an absolute joy, for us Lord of the Rings fans to see all the posts of you guys. It's like Dom said, it's one of those things where as fans, it's just kind of like, we needed that. Like, this is feel good stuff. So it's great to see the 4 of you, spending time together at these conventions, meeting fans and everything.
And we know that. I mean, look, we would spend time with each other anyway because we all love and support each other and care about each other. But we know that. We know that it feels good for people, and we want people to have that experience. And we love those films, and we all love each other. So it's all a cyclical thing. We're aware of it.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, guys, for coming on. Thank you for everybody in the chat for all your wonderful questions. So remind us again, guys, what locations you've got. Chicago coming up this weekend, and where else should people come check you guys out with Sean and Elijah?
So Chicago this weekend, and we're doing a live Friendship Onion on Friday night, 6 o'clock, I think.
It might be a little boozy, but you'll enjoy it.
It'll be great fun Friday night. Saturday night, we've got the big show with all the hobbits, and we're going to be at the convention all weekend, Saturday, Sunday. After that, we're off for about a month or something. We come back to Boston, I think the weekend of the 13th of August, and then we finish in Toronto the weekend of the 27th.
Yeah, and live podcasts at all of those, and then hopefully more live podcasts to come.
Yeah.
And it's all, you can get all that information at Fan Expo, and then just put in the cities that we're going to. So obviously Fan Expo Chicago, Fan Expo Boston, and we'd love to see you there.
we'll see you at the Friendship Onion.
Absolutely.
Nice
Yes.
t-shirt, by the way, Matt.
So, oh yes, I forgot it. Yeah, I'm wearing.
Oh yes,
Friendship
very
Onion.
nice.
Yes,
very nice.
Well, for all of you in the chat, I want you guys to go over. The link is in the description. The Friendship Onion YouTube channel. They are well past 100,000 subscribers. I see you got your nice silver play button in the background there. Congratulations on that. So yeah, fantastic, wonderful podcast that you guys have. I absolutely love it. I have a few episodes to catch up on. But guys, if you're one of those people who just need some fun and positivity in your life, the Friendship Onion is where you're going to find it. So be sure to go there and subscribe. Billy and Dom, thank you so much again for joining us today.
Thanks a lot, Matt.
Thanks
All the
lot,
best,
mate.
the Nerds of the Rings.
See you later.
All right. We'll see you guys next time on Nerd of the Rings.